Сайн байцгаана уу хүн төлөвчтэй. Өнөөдөр манай дефакто нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын ерөнхий нарийн бичгийн даргын шадар туслах Нүүбийн хөгжлийн хөтөлбөрийн Аз номхон далайн бүсийн захирал ноён Хаолиан Зу оролцож байна.
Хаолиан Шу нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын ерөнхий нарийн бичгийн даргын шадар туслах. Тэрээр нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын хөгжлийн хөтөлбөрийн захирагчийн орлогч бөгөөд Аз номхон далайн бүсийн товчооны захирал юм. Нью-Йорк, Тимор-Лест, Пакистан, Казахстан зэрэг улсуудад тус томилогдсон нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын хөгжлийн хөтөлбөрийн үйл ажиллагааг хариуцсан ажиллаж байжээ. Ноён Шун Америк нэгдсэн улсын Стевний технологийн их сургуулийн менежментийн шинжилгээ ухааны магистр, Колумбийн их сургуулийн олон улсын харилцааны магистр зэргийн цолтой.
Good evening.
Good to see you. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Welcome to Mongolia. It's your second trip in 3 years, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And let's start with very interesting your career change. You are from the Tongji University in China. You were a professor there, and by profession, by your diploma, you are construction civil engineer. And yet you are today already more than 20 years in the UN, and now today are responsible for the whole region of Asia from the UNDP. How happened? Why you changed so much?
I think sometimes life takes unplanned turns. I think I was an assistant lecturer at Tongji University. I worked in civil engineering altogether for 7 years. But the engineering became sort of predictable to me as a career. I wanted to do something that's different, that I felt was bigger than just engineering. So I went to the US to study for international affairs and for management, and I did 6 internships during my studies.
Wow.
And I eventually landed on this job, and that took me more than 20 years, to
6
make.
internships, quite
Yes.
remarkable. I used to study in the U.S. in Colorado, and I had Chinese friends who really worked very hard, and it's no surprise that you guys, after such a hard try, come into such an important position.
Thank you.
And you have been representing in UNDP as regional officer, country representative in many countries, Iran, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, and Kazakhstan twice. And you are very familiar with the local conditions where some countries need really particular UNDP support projects. And one of those countries is Mongolia. And the UNDP is coordinator of UN, all actions here in the country, like you did in Kazakhstan. How do you find progress in Mongolia under these projects, in particular in the context of SDG?
Mongolia, over the last 10-15 years, I would say have really achieved a lot, And in terms of the MDGs, Millennium Development Goals, Mongolia met most of the targets. And the biggest achievement, I think, is that 2 years ago, Mongolia, in terms of the Human Development Index, got into the rank of high human development country, which is at the same level as China in that sense. And so that really indicates the social and economic achievements that the country has made. And Mongolia has also contributed significantly to international affairs. We know that Mongolia has sent more than 8,500 peacekeepers to different UN missions, and there are still 900 of them serving currently in Africa. So, and in many other ways, Mongolia has really demonstrated its ability to make progress.
Well, this MDG became SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, to end poverty within certain years. And Mongolia, just now UNDP had completed country strategy, and you have now approved new country strategy. What makes different that new strategy compared with the old one?
First of all, the SDG agenda, Sustainable Development Goal, Sustainable Development Agenda 2030 is very different from the MDG agenda. And the SDG agenda is a universal agenda. It applies to all countries in the world, not just the developing countries. It is very ambitious. It covers 17 goals, 169 sub-goals, wide-ranging issues. And it is a transformative agenda because, as you said, it seeks to end poverty. Right? Mongolia has lifted more than 500,000 people out of poverty during the MDG period. Now you need to end all poverty, right, in Mongolia. So it is truly transformative agenda. And it also tries to provide a secure future for our future generations, right, to leave a planet, right, that is suitable for them to prosper as well. Right.
Let's take Mongolia. Now, under your classification, World Bank classification, per capita, $2 a day income, we have a 20% about of the country under that level. That means from now, say 13 years from now, by 2030, we have to end that poverty, which sounds fantastic. But how, I mean, you are partner with the Mongolian government. How do you see the way Mongolia can deal with that?
I think the history shows, in my view, that you can do it. Because during MDG period, right, from 2000 to 2015, you reduce the poverty, average poverty from 40% to about 20%, right? You can say that that reduction was easier than the last mile normally.
Yeah, now
right?
we have about a little bit more people,
now
600,000 people.
And you have more challenge because you also have regional disparities to deal with, right? But one of the SDG goal, SDG 10, is to actually significantly reduce inequality, right? So the task will be more difficult. But I think with the kind of human resources and natural resource endowment Mongolia has, I think you can do it, right? You already now developed this Sustainable Development Vision 2030, right? So UN worked with the government to make sure that the SD Sustainable Development Vision is aligned with the SDGs. So if we take a medium to long-term view, invest consistently in social sectors as well as in environmental preservation, conservation, as well as working with the private sector to stimulate economic development, I think the goal can be achieved.
Interesting. You have mentioned about disparity, inequality in this country. And I think the same also growing in China as well.
Correct.
With current more economic growth, the distribution of income is not coming equal, of course. I mean, it should not be equal, of course. But however, it should not be that desperate for many people living in the lower bracket of income. But however, looks like it is new task kind of, because it was before socialist country like China it was. But today, with this, when we face this sort of huge inequality, what is the best way to deal with that? Because either tax them, who has more income, or to grow businesses in a way that these people are coming up. What is the strategy?
Theoretically, we say that economic growth should be inclusive.
Inclusive.
Right? That is, that it's not just for the benefit of a few, but to make sure that the society at large, benefits. And you can do this through a number of means. As you said, taxation, progressive taxation is one way of doing it, right? In this IMF deal that has been just agreed, Mongolia is now adopting a progressive tax system. But this requires the society to have a discussion, in my view, right?
Yep.
Because that means the richer and the well-to-do sectors of society need to agree that this is what they are doing to contribute to the country's equitable and inclusive development. Right? So I think this is important, that the whole citizenry needs to know that it takes the whole society to contribute to a society that is stable, peaceful, harmonious. Right? That's a common vision that everybody wants. So it's not just a decision that government makes. I think it is important that every citizen is aware of this policy and supports this.
Understand. The people now deeper and deeper here in Mongolia understand that we should try all our best for going out from this economic repression, the recessions now. But now here in the country we talk about poverty and economic recessions, all this coming from not necessarily from the economy itself. It is coming from bad management, not good public governance, where we see corruption, plundering of public wealth, and people come, in particular in Mongolia, for 4 years only to power, and they misuse funds. So basically, we talk about better public governance. If there is anything that you do in that direction, as UN or as UNDP?
Sure. I think both UN and the UNDP included pays a lot of attention to the agenda of good governance. In fact, SDG 16 talks specifically about governance issues. That is to build an inclusive and peaceful society through a number of things that you mentioned, responsible government and transparency and so forth. And if you look at the numbers, okay, Mongolia's ranking in the Transparency International Transparency Index, has improved over the years. Right? That means a lot of things have improved. And the World Bank's recent report on public financial management also endorsed a lot of progress that Mongolia has made. Mongolia, as you know, in December also passed anti-corruption law, which is very significant because it takes many other countries a lot longer to adopt a national law. So there are a lot of positive developments, but there are still challenges, as in many other countries, and that will require the national players to be committed to address this issue. We are always ready to assist.
Yeah. So you are working with the government, and you bring a lot of technical and professional expertise to Mongolia. And meanwhile, by the way, Mongolian technical and professional expertise keep growing because
Correct.
of that. And that you can see a lot of people coming from UN system to other sectors in the working, and I see very delighted to see that. This sustainable development goal is to be achieved by all the stakeholders. How do you see the role of civic society in that achievement?
I think civil society can play a very constructive role, in helping the country, to achieve these goals. In that, for example, to achieve these goals, you need really intermediate targets. Right? You need to monitor the achievements of the intermediate targets so that you know we are in the right direction, moving in the right direction. Government will have its own systems, right, of monitoring its development plan and budget implementation, right, which is a major issue now in the IMF, discussion. And the parliament, also can play a significant role in monitoring the implementation of development plan and budgets. But the citizenry, including civil society organizations, can also hold the government accountable, right, through, public discussions, social media discussions, and so forth. So I think it is really important that government talks to the people, right? The parliamentarians talk to their constituencies, so that everybody works together constructively, right? And in terms of the vision, I think it's very important, in my view, to recognize that sustainable development is not just about income. Right? There are lessons learned from many societies that blind pursuit of income alone will not result in a peaceful and inclusive society. Right? And the SDG agenda, a very important principle is to leave no one behind. Right? That means we really have to help the most vulnerable sectors of society, right? Not to be left behind. So that's why in the UN, we always emphasize the importance of investment in social sectors, that is health, education, social protection. Right? because not everybody has the equal capacity, right, to
Yes.
compete. Right?
Correct.
So we needed to ensure that their children, the future generations, are not in a disadvantageous position because of lack of social expenditure. Right? So although the budgetary situation is tight, is difficult, let's not forget about the importance of social sector contribution to poverty reduction, because there are a lot of literatures that shows that 30% of the poverty reduction actually are contributed from social sector investment, social protection measures.
So in that sense, how do you find the level of budget spending or investment in social sector in Mongolia compared to other countries?
I have not studied this in detail, I must say, but you can look at this from the percentage of budget, on health and education as a percentage of GDP. You can compare this to some other countries in the region and in the world, and so we can talk about this in more detail once I have studied these numbers. But a lot of experience have shown that even when the country's GDP per capita is not very high, consistent spending on social sectors actually helps the social development in the long run. Mongolia actually is an example. It's a good example itself, right? Because most of your human development achievement comes from improvement in education and health sector, in fact, right? So it's really important.
We talk about the certain money coming from inside of the country, as much as we can spend for our children, for our social wellness, etc. And yet also your structure, UN and UNDP is coordinating all UN structure in Mongolia. About how much approximately you spend Mongolia fund a year?
UN since early 1960s, I think so far has spent about $420 million of grant assistance, support, technical support to Mongolia. But I must say that UN, should not be seen as a source of funding for Mongolia, because the UN budget every year compared to national budget is very, very small. I think the UN's value is the knowledge, the experience, comparative experience, and its impartial position, right, to advocate on important issues such as democracy, human rights, transparency. That I think is more important than the money.
That's what we see in every work in the society.
Right.
And I think there are no social in particular sectors where UN had not helped in Mongolia, and we appreciate. And my point is, so government spending certain money, you as much as in particular with the knowledge, expertise coming. Now the issue is, how efficient are we here?
Correct.
And it's a monitoring of result. It's a result-based management, right?
Totally agree.
And that result kind of reporting about the result, how does it work, and is it the way, if there's any way that social civic societies can be involved in that?
Totally agree. I think that's why the role of parliament, which is supposed to oversee the work of the government, right, and the citizens group, right, which have an inherent interest to see government, work implemented effectively. I think these groups have to really work together, and UNDP, for example, has been the most transparent aid organization in the world consecutively for 2 years, right? Because we do pay attention to transparency. So I think we can support Mongolian political actors and the citizen groups in this direction. We definitely can do it. We needed to make sure that the results are achieved, right, according to plan, according to schedule, according to budget, right?
My point is this becoming a more democratic society.
Yes.
Now more people are involved in decision making, or at least implementation of those decisions. So the more we go in that directions, we have shorter and shorter time for any government. They are to keep changing. So then the civic society needs more capacity, knowledge to monitor general efficiency of the public governance?
Yeah, I think the need for transparency should not come from civil society, in my view, right? The government should have inherent interest, right, to demonstrate that they are transparent. They are here to serve people, right?
Well, until we control them, apparently they say that, but actually, indeed, in reality, it goes in a lot way more, a very demonstrative way, not in a deep way.
Okay, I'm sure the government has an interest to demonstrate to the people, to their electorate, that they are responsive to their needs. I think one thing that I want to mention is that I think in pursuing Mongolia's development, it's really important to look at the lessons from many other countries, especially in terms of environmental protection, for example, because Mongolia has a very strong mining sector, right? Contributed to, I don't know, is it 50% of GDP?
Mining is 20% of GDP, but 80% of our export earnings.
Export anyway. Yes. So, we cannot develop the mining sector at the cost of environmental degradation. Right.
Which is a part of this SDG.
Exactly, it's really important. Right? We have to preserve our planet. There's so many experiences from many countries that they develop first, clean up late. The cost of cleaning up later is much more expensive than if you...
Mongolia, a good demonstration.
Absolutely. China, I'm from China, and China is unfortunately suffering now from air, land, and water pollutions that Mongolia should really avoid.
As well.
Right? There are a lot of issues in the climate change, adaptation. We should really spend time on these kind of issues more and more.
So in that regard, because I understand there are 3 pillars in this SDG. One is this poverty end, second is sustainability, the third is about environmental protection.
Yep.
And we talk about Mongolia, now it's also again fair sharing of this wealth with the local community as well, yet to protect the environment in a way that they can continue their animal husbandry work.
Yes.
And it's becoming apparently not that easy.
It is not easy. SDGs have a few goals. You mentioned poverty, people, right? It's about people's welfare, right? Poverty, inequality, and so forth, right? It is about prosperity, obviously, right? Because you have to have economic growth. Without growth, you cannot really achieve the goal of poverty reduction. That's why economic growth has to be a primary focus, right? But about people, then the growth has to be inclusive, right? The people comes in, right? And you also have planet to preserve, right? So you have biodiversity. The rich biodiversity of Mongolia must be preserved, right? The impact of climate change must be taken into account. The herders' livelihoods has to be taken into account, right? And also you have partnership aspects, right? Because for SDGs, the financing needs are enormous, and the government budget can only provide on average 30% of the needs. So 70% has to come from private sector inputs, right? So private sector, public sector, and citizens have to work together in partnerships to achieve these goals.
And there is a particular benchmark, right, to achieve from year to year in the environmental protection.
Depending on...
Mongolia has done this program already, and you have now this country strategy.
Yes, there's, for example, Mongolia is the early signatory to the Paris Agreement, right? So in that agreement, Mongolia committed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 14% by 2030 compared to the baseline. And to also increase renewable energy, to 30% of its, power supply. So there's an ambitious goal, but you needed to, you needed to have, of course, step by step, interim targets. And but that can be done. I think this can be achieved. Mongolia, in terms of total emission, is not significant because of the relatively small economy. But your energy intensity is very high.
Very much.
So that's not good for you, right? And so Mongolia should have an inherent, in its own interest, right, to reduce, energy intensity. because it is saves energy, saves
Yeah, I understand.
a lot of things, and that
You are
has impact
completely
on has impact on air pollution,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So a lot of
Ulaanbaatar
issues.
city, one of the
Exactly
worst
right.
now polluted city.
Right.
Now because temperatures become a little bit easier, now air is becoming a little bit cleaner.
Right.
Otherwise, you said about the energy
Right.
consumption.
Right.
We burn raw coal.
Right, yeah.
And terrible.
Which is not the future, right? We have to find a way to deal
Half
with
of this Ulaanbaatar city is living in Steelgate
yes,
district.
I
burning
realize
the coal.
Yeah, right. Now I realize that the government now is now developing new national plan to address this issue, and we have to learn lessons from the past, right? Why the past plan didn't work, and really now try to make some progress. And we are ready to support. I think the key in my view is to involve all stakeholders involved, right? Because I understand that there's also a divide even in Ulaanbaatar city, right, between people in district and other parts of the city. There are issues, but we have to involve everybody in this process. I think the key lessons as I see from many issues, not only in Mongolia but in other countries, is that citizens demand their rights, obviously, right? They want better life, they want government to provide the support, solutions and so forth. But I think we should also ask ourselves as citizens, what are our obligations, what are our contributions to solve some of the problems, right?
So what is the plan as UNDP regional director for the region? Do we have a particular aim for the region in that regard, SDG?
Definitely. We made supporting our governments to implement SDGs our major task. And for doing that, we are taking a few measures. First, we are putting together a number of platforms, regional platforms, using our convening power, our impartiality, to put these platforms together. One for the governments, right, for them to meet together to share experience, right, and to learn from each other, okay. And also one for private sector, because as mentioned, the private sector contributes significantly to achievement of SDGs, right? Government cannot do it alone. And private sector also provides 90% of the jobs in Asia Pacific.
Yes.
So for private sector to meet together, to share experience. And then for civil society and for young people, right? And not only we build these platforms, we will interconnect them together. Government with young people, government with private business, business with young people, so that we create synergies.
And in that sense, what kind of intergovernmental or inter-NGOs, inter-youth platforms, events, forums you foresee within another 5 years?
We already started now. Last year, we organized our first government-to-government exchange, right? And called SDG and Knowledge Exchange, right? And it was very effective. Governments wanted to have repeat of this. So this year, we're organizing this again, but focus more on specific issues. And we're also working with some regional groupings, for example, ASEAN, right? For SDG implementation. This year, we will focus on financing for development issues, right? And for young people, we are going to organize a launch event this year, focusing on youth leadership, but also job creation. Because for young people, I think the employment issue, right, a meaningful life and a life with a purpose, right, has become a major issue. So we want to focus on something concrete.
Well, this sort of networking hopefully will have a lot of impact on Mongolia, in particular youth, and also hopefully on our government, so that we learn each other, because we share the land, you see. We put a borderline, but we cannot put a borderline on air, on water.
Correct.
So that's why it's
many
our
issues are transboundary.
common world,
Absolutely.
one world.
Yes.
So we have a need to work inside of the country, in the region, in the world, and I think your job is perfectly there to take care of all this level, and I would like to congratulate you with your job, and thank you for visiting for visiting Mongolia.
No, thank you very much. I think we always say that the national governments, the population of the countries are the drivers of their own development. We are there to support them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice meeting. Right.
Хүндэтгэгчтэй өнөөдөр манай de facto нэвтрүүлгийн зочноор Нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын ерөнхий нарийн бичгийн даргын шадар туслах Нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын хөгжлийн хөтөлбөрийн Аз номхон далайн бүсийн захирал ноён Хаолиан Зүү оролцлоо. Их баярлалаа.